Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I'm here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to do our second pass on this video.
Yeah.
Because the first one got nuked. For some reason, I got the blue screen of death. So maybe
they're all in on it.
They're all in on it.
Silence the haters.
They're all trying to silence the haters. Anyway, this is our first post-Christmas video, and what better way to celebrate than with She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. It is the gift that keeps on giving.
Oh yes, always.
So the friendly media machine is fired up once again, and there are new articles out there today about She-Ra after weeks of silence. There really wasn't much on She-Ra, and the show has been out for several weeks.
Well, we have to make sure. Well, no, it hasn't been weeks because remember she got that award out of nowhere.
Oh, the award, yes.
The award out of nowhere. So now we're back because it died down again. So we have to stir it up there again, make sure he rises to the top. And I think this is actually good news.
Yeah, the good news is for fans of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, He-Man will not be in Noelle Stevenson's reimagining of She-Ra, thank God.
It will not be getting her personal rinse like poor She-Ra did. So we have that good news anyway. So if you're worried about that and you're a He-Man fan, you can breathe easier. However, it's interesting because in the one video she did at New York City Comic Con, they asked her about He-Man. She basically indicated that it was not going to be a likely thing because of the way that the licensing was divided up. Which happens a lot. If you have things that are different shows in the same company, that some characters are part of this one, some characters are part of another license, it happens often. But now that story has changed.
Yeah, so, Surprise. She's not getting He-Man at all.
No, but I'm saying the story about why she's not is changed again. Big surprise that her story changed again. So they're talking about the new She-Ra is brimming with colorful, memorable characters. But anyone familiar with the story of She-Ra may be curious to know the whereabouts of her brother He-Man. I mean, the He-Man is not her brother in this one? Because they already made a big point of saying that He-Man, is not her brother.
This tells me everything I need to know. This is written by Eric Francisco. The beefcake in the loincloth fought Skeletor every Saturday morning. Wrong! He-Man was Monday through Friday, and there are several other errors in his article regarding He-Man, telling me that he obviously is too young for the show.
Yes, and all he sees He-Man is a beefcake and a loincloth.
Yeah, so.
So now they're saying about the season 2, like it's a big deal about season 2 for She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. Everybody already knew we were getting a season 2. They kind of let that go and the New York City Comic Con when they basically were talking about things that hadn't happened in this. And it's technically not even a season 2. It's basically one season split in half, like they always do at Netflix.
Yeah.
And saying, woohoo, 2 seasons.
Yeah, 6 episodes constitutes a season for some shows.
Yeah, so I'm
Netflix.
like, it is what it is, but it's not. It's like one season split in half. But we're like, we'll call it season 2 to be nice. But now we have a whole article again about Noelle Stevenson because you can't ever talk about She-Ra without having it about her.
Well, there are actually 2 back-to-back articles.
I know, same author.
Same day.
I thought the other one was the 24th.
No, it's the 27th.
I think there was a 24th for the other one. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, see?
Oh, I got wrong. Okay, well, within 2 days of each other.
Okay.
Within 2 days
same writer. So anyway.
12 days of Noelle Stevenson.
So series producer Noelle Stevenson tells Inverse she doesn't have any plans to include Prince Adam of Eternia. He-Man is not really on the table for this iteration of She-Ra at all, she says. Thank God. The character, I love this. The character poses a challenge for her modern interpretation of She-Ra's universe. Okay, so it poses a challenge for her to interpret him because I think a couple reasons. I'll let you go with your reason in a minute, but I think part of it is there's a lot more He-Man fans than there are She-Ra fans, and if you dick with He-Man too much, then they're gonna come down. They're gonna come down on you hard.
Yeah.
But beyond that, go ahead.
I think I can tell you. I think that the issue with He-Man is that Stevenson and her fellow Tumblerites would find He-Man incredibly problematic. He is a symbol of toxic masculinity. He's a 6.5 foot tall, white blonde dude. And he lifts his large sword over his head and says, I have the power.
Yeah, we can't have that.
They would find that incredibly problematic.
Yeah, because their version would make him some weakling little puss who has no power and understands that She-Ra's better than him.
Yeah.
Because, he has to be an ally. Like all the male characters in the new She-Ra. They all have no identity other than being an ally to She-Ra and all her quote-unquote diverse, which means who her friends are, friends. So it would be a challenge, I think, to bring He-Man to life in the present day. Well, so would have She-Ra, even more so than She-Ra. No, Stevenson says he's a very iconic character because, you know, She-Ra is not an iconic character.
Yeah, I know, right?
She was flippin' iconic before you dicked with her. It'd be a lot of fun to incorporate him into the world of She-Ra, but I don't know what my approach to that would be. I really don't give a flying shit what your approach to that would be. I know automatically it would be bad. So thank God for small miracles.
Yeah, why do we need to have your interpretation or anyone's reinterpretation of He-Man? He-Man has certain personality traits and they carry across the animated series, you know, both of the animated series, the comics. You know, there are some differences, but he's got the core personality traits. You know, nobody needs to come in and reinvent He-Man.
No, same for She-Ra.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't need reinvented. I mean, you could have made a new show with a more modern animation style, but you didn't have to reinvent things by changing everything so it's only in name only. I'm so tired of hearing, you know, and there's all these other shows that are out there that have been updated, and you don't hear about how it's a showrunner's interpretation and how it would fit into my world, to my whatever reboot.
Yeah.
It's because it's not. I don't. Other than She-Ra, I don't know any show that it's more about the showrunner than it is about the actual IP and the show.
This is a PR firm working overtime, and we'll talk about this article, and then we'll talk about the real puff piece.
Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to the prior puff piece from 2 days ago.
Okay, this is where it really gets.
Oh, I have to go to the top because you have to get the full effect.
How an indie comic sensation became the hero of Netflix's
Or the
She-Ra.
villain, depending on who you ask.
In 2018, an indie comics maven powered up into...
Indie comics maven! You literally did like 2 things! And one of them was a group effort. You literally did 2 things.
Powered up into a TV showrunner. Here's how Noelle Stevenson became the hero She-Ra needed.
She-Ra did not need this hero. It's not a hero. Bullshit. I call bullshit on this. I just love this article because it is such a, he couldn't shove his head up her butt any further if he wanted to. So, before she was a showrunner, she had to conquer the realm of independent comics. You literally did 2 things.
She did a webcomic, and she did a collaborative comic at Boom.
Let's give all credit to her on that,
a handful of like oddball Marvel, like...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, but of independence. Yeah. It was like, like 2 things. Like her protagonist's transformation just from soldier to hero, Stevenson had to take up the responsibility of leading a team, unlearn comic book habits, and figure out how to write for TV. Well, yeah, I agree with that. So she could teach a young audience the values of decency and diversity. Because, our kids today have no idea how to be decent people. And they have no idea what diversity is, because it isn't like there's 100 other shows telling them how to be diverse every day anyway. Right? This is a brand new thing. We finally got diversity because it's been lacking in so many kids shows out there. And decency, because the original show was not decent. She-Ra from the original show had no decency whatsoever. She was a flat, one-dimensional character who was always concerned about her looks and her breasts.
Yeah, she was
no decency.
Teaching little girls, any little girl that grew up in the 1980s, She-Ra told her to be a stripper.
Right.
That's
because we need values and morals and decency and diversity, and we can only get that from Noelle Stevenson because the original She-Ra did not have that. I also want to point out, can you go find that picture then? The picture of the 2002 He-Man. We're talking about diversity because there was never any diversity in She-Ra other than the fact that they had, Entrapta and Natasha in the original were not white. But we go to this and look at the, we got Glimmer and Angela, and they're both black. They're not white. So they're not white.
Yeah, I mean.
So I'm like,
this is what was in store for the 2002.
Yes, it was like, so this whole idea that there's never diversity, because when they say diversity, they're talking about a diversity that applies to them. What them and their friends think of as diversity. So they're referring to that in diversity. They're not talking, it can't be completely diverse unless it goes the way of the, High Guardian Spice and all that. Then that's the diversity that matters.
The diversity that matters.
The show deals with young new female leadership through several characters, because that didn't happen in the original.
Yeah, even though the director of Masters of the Universe, both seasons, it was a woman.
Right.
Two different women, and there were a lot of women involved in the creation of She-Ra.
And the look of She-Ra was designed by women, and they had to fight against men to actually get it through that the woman wasn't model pretty for She-Ra. They had to fight for that. She's going on about, it was a little too real, Stevenson said. When I started, I was excited about the story and the characters. Through the process, I'd become excited about collaboration, compromise, and mediation.
This tells me that she probably had a very different version of She-Ra, and Mattel probably, or DreamWorks and/or Netflix probably shot down an even more radical departure from the original IP.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting out of this.
So it gets even better, guys. So they go on here about Stevenson won an Eisner Award for both her independent comics Nimona and Lumberjanes. Lumberjanes, she was part of a team for Boom. It wasn't just her. Nimona, was her thing, but Lumberjanes was not only her. And I do remember, without going into detail, some posts that were made that were left. It was indicated. It was the idea was that she won all these awards, and it wasn't corrected that they weren't all her awards. But that was a long time ago, so we won't go there. I love this. This is great. You go ahead and you take this one.
Yeah, I treated it like getting a box of really fun toys. They talk about the voice cast, but then she said, by virtue of being born in the 90s, the showrunner missed the pop culture explosion of the Masters of the Universe franchise in the late 80s.
It wasn't.
Wrong. It was done by the late 80s. If you actually did just a little bit of homework, you'd realize that He-Man pretty much peaked in 84, 85. But whatever. She consequently didn't grow up obsessing over She-Ra and He-Man's sandbox universes. This, it turns out, freed her to try something bold.
So, I'm going to translate. She didn't grow up with the show, so she had no personal attachment to it whatsoever. And so she could do whatever the hell she wanted with it, not feel bad about betraying the characters, whatever, because she personally had no attachment to the show other than using it as a vehicle to further what she wanted to further.
Well, that's
basically what it is.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, oh, hey, what we got? This has an audience, so I'll just,
And we'll piss all over those people because they don't agree.
And that's what a lot of these creatives today do. They basically latch on to an existing fan base, and then because they don't have a fundamental understanding of that show or a love of that show, there's no respect. They just do whatever the hell they want to do.
It lacked respect, and the articles lacked respect. The articles that they've been putting out have lacked respect.
I didn't want not knowing to affect me because that would put a hamper on what the show could achieve and what it could be for audiences of today.
Her and her friends.
So, like rummaging through old toys at a garage sale, Stevenson gleaned over the original and emphasized elements she felt the 80s series glossed over. So basically, she tore through all the junk and the shit of the original show, and she pulled out a few things that she thought she could work with, I guess.
She could bastardize further.
Yeah.
So, and then she goes about how, like Adora and Catra, she felt the original show underdeveloped them. Well, I will give you Catra. I think that Catra wasn't developed in the original show either. But I will not give you Adora. Because I do not believe that for 1 minute Adora was not fleshed out in the original show.
She had more agency in the original show. She wasn't a doofus. She was not a doofus. She had a freaking laser cannon in her bedroom.
I know. It made a lot of sense for me to get into the relationship between Catra and Adora. Yes, it did, because you've made it very clear why you went there on many interviews with Adora and Catra. It made sense to you because that's the relationship you cared about. Because that's a relationship that you wanted to base off yourself. That's why you did that. This isn't about different paths. This is about you wanting to work with them and make them like you. That's what it was. Of course, you have to give them whatever.
Give us money.
No, okay. Thank you. And she's about unlearn. I love this. A lot of She-Ra is about Adora unlearning the Horde's fascist brainwashing. So was the original.
Oh my God.
While Adora can lead her unit and survive certain death, things like birthdays, music, and horses are all foreign to her. Yeah, that's kind of the point.
Was supposed. I mean, this is my biggest pet peeve with the show. Beyond the PR, is just the fact that she's supposed to be a soldier. Even young soldiers, you look at like guerrilla soldiers that were basically trained to be a soldier from the time they were children. They do not act as stupid as Adora and the other 5 teenagers that are supposed to be Horde members. I mean, we're talking these kids were trained from the time they were little children, to be killing machines.
Right.
And they as hell don't act like it.
But let's go have Princess Prom.
Let's have Princess Prom and horsies. And act like a doofus that's never held a sword before.
Hold up, let me honest, the whole episode, the whole reason Princess Prom was there, so they can push Catra and Adora together and put Catra in a suit. That's what the whole episode was there
And they
for.
had like every Tumblr comic character ever in the background.
Yeah, pretty much. It was,
oh my god.
I'm just not even going to read all this because it's not even worth it. But I still love this. While Stevenson never served as an officer for Princess Honey Military, her own journey mirrors that of Adora's.
Yeah, okay.
So I can't,
She had to do some unlearning throughout the making of She-Ra, from the more solitary world of comics and the fast-paced, mega collaborative environment of TV. So I honestly think she might have been humbled a little bit. I think she probably came into it being like, I'm an Eisner Award-winning comic book author.
I have no doubt. I've seen tweets from this person. I have zero doubt that's how it was.
And then she got into it, and it's like, oh, look, I have to answer to DreamWorks. I have to answer to Mattel. I have to answer to Netflix.
I want to mention, too, about the talking about how the new show, and it was on was it the different article, about the new show and about how it was so well received. Oh, no, here it is. The series follows the door, but isn't there a thing about, after this, we forgot this part. After your production, a negative reaction, mostly by dudes. Did you know I was a dude?
Really?
Did you know there's a bunch of women on YouTube who don't like it that are all dudes?
Yeah, they're all dudes.
Because it's all dudes. Because they didn't like her design. Because it's only dudes who don't like her because they can't fap to her. But you know what? They're going to anyway. She-Ra premiered on Netflix to rave reviews. We're like, are the rave reviews the Rotten Tomatoes? It is the Rotten Tomatoes. The rave reviews are the Rotten Tomatoes scores.
So now we see the bigger picture. They corn feed the reviews, so places like Inverse can brag about the reviews.
Let's talk about the rave reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. So people have found out that if it's below a 2, it doesn't count in the score.
Yeah.
So all 5-star scores will count, but anything below a 2 will not count in the score. So you can't rate it fairly anyway. Plus there was a big campaign and a whole bunch of accounts just popped up with no previous reviews ever just to give it 5 stars and say things like, yay, gay rights, and She-Ra, it's all a bunch of white men and straight white men who hate it. And that is literally comments that were in the reviews.
So we got the Rotten Tomatoes thing going on, and then we also have, She-Ra won a major award, an animation award.
That's majors in quotes, right?
Animation Magazine, user award. And we're also seeing a lot of commercials, a lot of
we're not seeing, people
advertising.
Are telling us.
People are telling it. There's all kinds. Actually, I've seen them. I've seen
them.
Seen them?
Yeah. I haven't seen them.
All kinds of advertising for She-Ra a month after it comes out on YouTube, I think, to try to get people, either to try to drown out the negativity and get people to watch the show, or maybe the show's not getting the views they hoped it would get. Maybe it's just not doing as well as they hope, because outside of Tumblr, nobody seems to give a shit.
Pretty much. And I've talked to, a lot of people, and some people like it, and like I said before, you're allowed to like it. We don't care for it, but you're allowed to like it. What I have a problem with isn't that people like it. What I have a problem with is people that keep making these articles talking about how anybody who doesn't like it is a bad person, which was indicated in some of these other articles that we were posting a bit ago. If you don't like it, you don't have decency. You are not a human. You're not a person until you realize that you have the wrong think. Which I forget what that sentence was. Here.
She has to unlearn in small ways what it means to be a person in the world, because she wasn't a person before when she was a fascist. She was unpersoned.
So you have to be, you're not a person until you think the correct way that they're going to tell you to think, because they have to make it for the audience for today, to show diversity and to show decency. Because if you're you clearly don't like the same way they are, you're not a person, you're not decent. And that is what this idea they keep pushing. And my problem isn't that people like it. My problem is the fact that if you don't like it, it's clearly because there's something wrong with you and you are a bad person. And it's a load of shit. Also, the person who wrote this article didn't even get half their facts straight. But the good news in all of this, the takeaway of the good news, is that they aren't touching He-Man.
Yeah, so thank God for small victories. They're not going to touch He-Man.
Merry Christmas, He-Man's safe.
Yeah, that is a Christmas gift from Mattel,
so
probably.
We're going to look at the silver lining in this, which is they've already pretty much ruined She-Ra. But good news is they're not touching He-Man.
So we can hope that eventually somebody will come along, reboot He-Man correctly, and then maybe bring She-Ra back into it in this new rebooted version of the Masters of the Universe. That's our hope. And then this too shall pass, and people will eventually just kind of forget about it and move on.
That's the hope. But speaking of Christmas, we had some She-Ra for Christmas. I got the original Catra.
Yes.
And when she's in very good condition, and she has her comic.
I almost
and brushable hair.
Yeah, so Geeky is one of the original. You've had the other Catchers before, the Scratches. This is the original Catcher. Finding her loose with her mask is damn near impossible.
No, you can do it, but it's hard.
And pricey.
Expensive, yes. So I got her, and I got the comic with her, and I got a shirt that my kids got me, and it says for the honor of Grayskull, and it has She-Ra, but she's in like that whole, Rosie the Riveter, we can do it, women's pose. And then you got the 2002 He-Man from my mom.
Again, yeah. Actually, we had it years ago. We sold the. We had all the Filmation series. We had the entire way. It was really cool because it had like all the Castle Grayskull on it. Sold our original He-Man She-Ra DVDs years ago because we thought, well, they're on Netflix.
Yeah.
We can watch them whenever we want to, and they were going for a lot of money. I'm like, well, it's easier to watch them on Netflix, and it is, and they pulled it, which I regretted, and thankfully my mother-in-law bought me 2002 He-Man on DVD. She got him
a copy of it, which you can get on Amazon, just so you know.
Yeah, you can.
Go get that today.
It's awesome, and it's just it shows you what could have been. This is what could have been for She-Ra. And unfortunately, we're never going to get to see that version.
Right.
So
anyway, also wanted to mention too that we don't have it pulled up, but we double checked Mattel again, and Mattel still is not tweeting anything about the new show. No congratulations, no go watch it, nothing. It's just complete silence on Mattel's part.
She-Ra wins a major award from Animation Magazine. Mattel doesn't even acknowledge it. That's weird because look, I'm not saying that they're not doing anything with the new She-Ra show in regards to the toy line, but the fact that they retweet the WWE on non-toy related posts, just like, hey, we're wrestling tonight and here's the event or whatever, but they won't even retweet anything that has to do with She-Ra, which is their own creation. Right. That's weird. That's
it is weird.
Really weird.
I find it odd too. So who knows what's going to happen? I mean, people keep arguing that they're like, oh, well, they're going to do toys, and because there's toys, but that was Super 7. Super 7 said that they were not doing anything beyond those promo toys for the Comic-Con. That could have changed, but as of then, it wasn't. People were saying, well, Mattel said they were doing them. I never saw that, but it's possible. I just find it odd that if you're working on a toy line and you're all excited about it, you would say something. To at least promote it so your toy sales would go up.
At least, if there's a series out there, even if they don't make the formal announcement they're working on the figures, at least retweet the announcement of the show. Be like, hey, She-Ra's back. But Mattel's like, they're not even touching this.
They're not saying anything.
They're not touching this
So
at
take
all.
that as you will.
That's weird.
In 2019, I'm sure we'll find out more. So anyway, that's what we had to say. Okay,
so we're going to wrap this one up. Thank you so much for watching. Going into 2019, we appreciate all of you for watching our videos and helping the channel grow. And we got lots of cool things coming up in 2019, so please stick with Clownfish TV. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. It does help the channel grow.
Yes.
Definitely.
Tell your friends.
Tell your friends. Tell your family.
Yeah, and I was going to say one more time, if you like the new show, you are allowed to like the new show. But I am going to say, and this is mostly geared at these authors of these shit articles, if you don't like the show, it does not mean that someone is a bad person because they don't like the show. It just means they don't like the show, and you can stuff it up your ass. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Okay, so please subscribe if you haven't already for more pop culture news, views, rants, art videos, gaming videos, and more. This has been Neon and Geeky.
Bye.
Goodbye.